Hey guys, welcome to Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast, YouTube. As you noticed, and as you might have seen, we are making some big shifts in business and in just our branding. Things are moving quite rapidly for us into what we're calling Wealth Wisdom Financial FP, Wealth Wisdom FP. So that is Financial Partners podcast. We have a YouTube channel. We are actually stepping away from grandma. Not that we didn't like her, but I feel like where we're at and what we've learned in our industry and our business, we have a lot more confidence in ourselves and what we are providing with people and helping people break through to a smart, stable financial future in real estate and relationships and other things that they do in their small businesses. And we're also bringing on amazing guests, more and more people that actually have broken through to a smart, stable financial future. And they've done it, some in business, some in real estate. And today I have a special guest that I've met through a real estate group here in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Investor Group. And it's a really awesome group. I have Darrin Carey. He runs Dayton Capital Partners, a real estate lender that focuses on hard money and rental loans for real estate investors. As you know, we're always looking for money as we're trying to break into this market. And so we need access to capital. So he helps that. And he analyzes the investors and their deals. He uses his past experiences to help them avoid duplicating his past mistakes to do better. Many of the notes he originated are later sold to other investors looking for a steady passive income. What I love about this is he's had some things that have happened that have led him where he's saying, I don't want to do that again, or how I don't want other people to experience that, from bankruptcy to other things. And so what he has done is been able to fall down and get back up. And what he wants to do is help you, the listener, not make those same mistakes that he did, or, even for me, as we do this whole thing. We've made mistakes. I started a business and sold a business, and there's a lot of things I wish I would have done differently. So with all that, welcome Darrin to the show.
How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, so take us back to when you started. Like, what brought you into this? Anything you want to add on what I just shared?
All right, so here, just a little bit of background then. So interesting enough, I read my first real estate book way back when I was 19 years old in college and thought that'd be cool to do someday. But I never had the idea that I could have done it then. And fast forward almost 20 years to being in the military and, having 10, 12 years in the military and looking at what a military retirement might be. And like, man, I don't want to have to try to live on that small amount because it's way less than what everyone thinks it is. And so I started back that real estate thing. It's like, well, if I pick up a few rental properties along the way, I can have that for some extra income. So I started focusing on that, trying to get that little extra income for down the road.
What year was that?
That would have been probably about 2002 before I started taking action on that. Probably started reading about it a couple years before that, but 2002 is when I really started taking action, started doing things. Really started digging into it at that point. And that's where I found out organizations like RIAs existed, but there was nothing anywhere near where I lived at the time. So my start was, 2 books that I bought out of Barnes and Noble. I had these delusions like real estate agents know how to invest. Had no idea that was absolutely wrong. Some do, but most don't. And so I just got started from there and probably made every mistake you could possibly make. Things like, the landlord says, we've had really low maintenance costs for 20 years on this building. Did not translate to, we haven't fixed anything on this building in 20 years. Now it needs everything. So we're selling it to you.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So I had to learn those things the hard way. And so I got up to having, I think it was 4 or 5 properties and maybe 14, 15 doors. I was focused on small multi, and a military relocated me to Ohio. And I found the local real estate investor association and started learning all these things that I didn't know. And I'm looking like, oh my God, if I'd have known that 2 years ago, I wouldn't have lost $7,000 on that deal and things like that. Then that introduced me to the ideas of wholesaling, the idea of, I could just buy, fix, and sell it. So those were new ideas to me at the time. So we started going down that path. And back then, if you remember back, so this was 05, 06, 07 era going through there, 05, 06, almost every guru ever was preaching, use every OPM for everything, maximize your ROI, borrow as much money as you possibly can, Tech was on TV advertising 125% mortgages.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. And I didn't know any better, so I started off down that path. By the time I figured out that that was just a path to disaster, because yes, you can multiply your income, but you can also multiply your losses. I started trying to adjust and kind of shift things around, pay down debt and get better deals and put that together. And then the '08 crash hit. So even though we kind of saw it coming, it hit harder and last longer than what we expected. And because I hadn't been able to make that shift away from that high debt training I had received, I ended up going through trying to pay everything back, trying to pay it down. We couldn't get deals done. Banks weren't lending, all those other things. And eventually one of the creditors sucked all the money out of my checking account. And all of a sudden I had a real struggle that month getting food on the table to feed the kids. And that's where I said, that's enough of that. I filed bankruptcy. The good thing about bankruptcy is while emotionally it's very, very painful, it does take those debts back to zero. And what it leaves you with is everything you learned along the way.
Yeah.
Everything you did right, everything you did wrong. Now, for me, it was an extremely painful process because I'd always prided myself on living up to my obligations. So coming out of that, I just kind of, sat around, felt sorry for myself for several months before I kind of decided, all right, let's get the kick in the butt and start going again. But I went through there and I went and I looked back and I analyzed, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Could have I anticipated this? Could I have done this better based on what I knew when I made that decision? Kind of went back and I literally went through every single deal I had ever done. And by memory, what I could remember of, what did I think then? What was I doing? What looked right? What looked wrong? Were there warning signs I could have got, and all those things. So I started rebuilding it based on that knowledge level. Went through, I paid back all the private lenders that, after bankruptcy, though I didn't have to, I paid everybody back there in that end. So I got that done. And the second time around, I built myself this super solid foundation by going out and having a really big garage sale to bring in a little bit of cash, just a few grand, but hey, a $4,000 garage sale on the weekend's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I took that cash to go out and start wholesale. Got some bandit signs, went out there, got a couple of deals together, did a couple more, got enough money to do a down payment, was able to do a flip by using that money for down payment, started growing it that way. And so my wife and I, at that point, we just started into this cycle of wholesale, do a flip. Oh, look, we got enough money, keep a rental. Or, oh, look, wow, that rental is disgustingly cheap. We'll just buy that one. We'll grab that. Yeah. And started building it with a lot less leverage than what I had the first time. So at this time, as we go through, our rental portfolio is less than 50% leverage at this point in time.
Yeah.
And we'll probably never have it over 50%. Does that reduce my ROI? Oh, absolutely. It reduces my ROI. Does it let me sleep at night? You bet. I sleep really well. So I don't have to worry about that. So that process of crashing, burning, having to come back and rise again like Phoenix, so to speak, come back and rebuild it, but rebuild it based on, okay, yeah, I screwed it up. What did I learn? What can I do right? And that led me through this whole cycle of, like I said, the wholesale, flip, rental, started doing a little private lending because all of a sudden I had some extra cash going out there. And we got to the point where my wife and I had 8 flips going on at the same time, 8 different cardinal directions from where we lived. Some of those were a half hour, 40 minutes away. And we're sitting in Subway at 9, 10 o'clock at night, eating a $5 footlong and going, why are we doing 8 flips at once? And so we immediately sold 2, the 2 that were furthest away, focused on finishing the ones that were left, and kind of shifted modes a little bit of, okay, we'll do a flip here and there. But, I was starting doing more private lending. So I started focusing more on the lending side. She focused on the brokerage side. We focused more on bringing the rentals in. So we shifted away from that, maximizing your return on investment to getting a better return on our time.
I think that's a huge differentiator that people don't talk about. And sometimes by chasing the return on investment, we are building upside down pyramids that could crash at any time, where it's just all about rate of return and not actually analyzing. What I heard you saying is I reflected, I looked at it, and I thought about it. And a lot of people are just action, and they don't even self-reflect and say, what could I have learned from? What could have I done better? And I think that's a challenge in our culture where we are over leveraged. We listen to one guru, then we'll go on, not taking responsibility for our own mishaps. What would you say to somebody that's, newly starting? How would you say, hey, build this?
So I'm still a big fan of the local real estate investor association, the CORE or the Cincinnati REIA in our local area, things like that. But the biggest thing is I was reflecting that I paid attention to, because I did a lot of classes after that. I went to a lot of, quote, guru courses and things like that. But I was very deliberate and focused about who I listened to and what their message was. If it was, it's easy, get rich quick, I wasn't interested, because I already knew that didn't work. Hey, can the little league kid get a grand slam home run in the national leagues? Yeah, maybe. Is the odds in his favor? Probably not. So when people start talking about business processes, how to do things, how to get in the weeds and learn to do it, how to understand it. Even though I knew how to rehab, I started taking rehabbing classes, learning how to do that better. I took a wholesaling class to learn how to wholesale better. I took property management classes and landlording classes to learn how to do that better, because those, as investors, are part of our skill sets. If you don't know how to assess a property as a real estate investor, you need to go back to Real Estate 101 and learn how to assess a property. So it was a focus on those core skills that you have to have as an investor. And having those core skills allows you to build whatever business model on top of that you want to have. Those core skills help me as a lender, which a lot of people think, well, no, it's not the same. Oh, absolutely. Because when an investor comes to me and says, hey, here's this property I want you to lend money on, I can assess that property just like I would as an investor and look at it and say, no, your numbers are wrong. Or you forgot about this. No, you're not. That's going to cost you twice as much as you think it will. And I'm able to help them through that process so they have a better chance of success. But
I think that's
more skills.
That's the same in, like, for me in the coffee shop world and selling a business and understand the business valuation system. And all these business owners are like, yeah, I'm going to sell this business. And I'm like, you're not paying yourself, or those kind of things that are important, and to reverse engineer those kind of things. But you have to know what questions to ask in each deal, because sometimes there will be, like you said in the beginning, oh, you have a great, we haven't had any problems on this. The cost of maintenance is this low, but you learned there's a question that they did not ask that cost you a lot of money. And we're just kind of looking and saying, oh, yeah, this is it. And by having good mentors, by learning, you're asking better questions. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it's getting better questions, getting the right people around you that want you to succeed, not want to line their own pockets.
And how have you found those people? Because here's the thing, and I do stuff in the finance world, and we do require sales. Every business requires sales. Right. How do you communicate that, and how can you tell that in somebody else, that they're in it to educate or serve versus just make money? Now, we all want to make money. How do you have that litmus test to see that in an individual or company?
There's a couple things. First, reputation counts. That tells you a lot. You can go on Google and find just about anybody that exists, especially if they have a course, a class, or anything else like that. And it's amazing if you actually listen to your internal self, that gut check. While it may not be 100%, it's probably 99. If something just feels it's too good to be true, something just feels off, you should pay attention to that. So that just makes a huge difference. And looking around and watching what people do and what they say versus what they do, that makes a big difference. If they say they're going to do it, are they going to do it? Or do they at least attempt to do it? Sometimes, deals get in the way. Hey, I'm going to make 20 grand on this house. Well, I only made 10. Well, unexpected things happen. That's a deal that went bad. Stuff happens. As opposed to someone says, hey, you're going to partner with me. I'm going to do all the work. And they never go around doing any work at all. That was just bad intent, or just, those are the people you don't want to work with. So it's filtering that out. Before I learned that, I got into a couple of bad deals with other people. And it's amazing how many people afterwards came up to me and says, I knew that person was a problem. Well, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me I should dig a little deeper? And at that time with that person, my gut was saying and it wasn't a really strong warning fight. It was just like, I don't know. Yes, no, maybe. But at the time it was still pre-08. So I was still struggling and trying really hard to make it. And so I made some decisions that weren't the best decisions because my head was in the wrong space.
So what I also heard was, as reputation, we can put things out there. And as I'm a business owner, building a reputation of a small business, and especially in this industry, there's so much negative stuff that's said that's wrong. And we can put in testimonials on our website. We can put in the things on our podcast, right? Those things are helpful. If you guys are listening to this and you like what you're hearing, write a review. Those things help. Yeah.
Most reviews are written by the people who had a bad experience.
Yeah.
Now, like if I look at all the Google reviews I have on my business, which aren't very many because I don't push people to put them out there, every bad review is somebody that I turned down for a loan.
Yep.
Every single one of them.
In the coffee shop years, I didn't say something about a political issue that was happening at the time. And this was somebody that I knew. They wrote a bad review on me because I didn't say anything, which was crazy. And they just said all kinds of horrible stuff about me and slammed me publicly on those platforms. I was like, what the heck? And I will tell you that people saw that. And a lot of my clients came and said, I saw that. They bought more coffee, actually, because they knew my character. And I thought it was just crazy, but I couldn't get rid of that review. It's there forever. But
I've got people that have dropped what I call, drive-by reviews. There's reviews on there from people I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I mean, I reply to every one of them. Yeah. And I'll say that. Who are you? I've never heard of you.
That's where reading those things with a grain of salt. If you are, again, listening to this, or if you've been valuing or valued somebody's business, remember those things matter. So write a review. If you've worked with Darrin, you've worked with the RIA group or anybody there,
especially small business,
write a review. Those are helpful, super, super helpful. The flip side, though, is sometimes those don't matter as much because you get the 1-star guys. It's about the relationship. And so this is the power. And in our world, we'll look at Yelp versus looking at, hey, I have a relationship with somebody. Whereas what I've learned a lot is having those physical relationships. That means taking time to actually go to events, rubbing shoulders, all that fun stuff. It's getting in the rooms, not just on a Zoom meeting, which is good, but getting in places in proximity. It sounds like you've intentionally put yourself in proximity to people that can serve you and you can serve. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, it's everything I've built. I'd say 95% of it's based on networking. It's getting out there, meeting people, helping people. At the local RIA, I'll do presentations at the local RIA. I did one at the last meeting just on a recent deal we did because they asked me to, but just to help the people out, to help the audience. Hey, here's a deal I did. Here's some things you can learn from this deal. So I'm trying to put that out there. So every time I go somewhere, anytime a person calls me, I try to leave them in a better place than what they were before they called me. I had somebody walk into my office yesterday looking for a bank to open a checking account, which is nowhere near anything we do with notes and lending or anything else like that. And yet I took 5 minutes to help her find out where she lived. Here's the banks around near you. Here's one close by, and helped her along her way. Does it help my business at all? No, not in the least.
Yeah.
Does it make me feel better as a person? Yeah, a little bit. So I helped her out instead of just saying, no, we don't do that. Go away.
Whenever I've been doing the financial analysis with people, and some people are like, yeah, but you're just going to try and sell me. I'm like, no, the point of even doing this is to help put you in a better place. Whether this works for you or not, I want to have the conversation so I can help you learn what I might have learned to put it in a better position. But we're so used to being sold because people have manipulated that system that we don't even see the value of a conversation.
Every person I talk to that comes to me as a business owner, whether it's a borrower on one side, I want to make sure that deal is going to work for them, that's going to succeed. They have the resources, the experience to succeed with that deal. It's not because some of the other people I've seen out there is like, oh, I'll lend the money and, I'll take the house back if he doesn't succeed. I don't want the house back. Okay. I just want him to succeed. I'm going to make a little money on the deal, on the interest and everything else, and life is good.
Yeah.
It's the same thing on the note. When I sell the notes to a note investor who wants that passive income coming in, I want to make sure they understand what goes on with a note. It's not guaranteed. It's not FDIC insured. It's an investment in a borrower over here that I'm trying to help succeed, but there's always the chance one's going to go wrong. I don't want your emergency reserve money in case, the furnace goes out in your house. That's not what it's for. This is your investment money. This is money you can put out to invest. You want to collect interest. You want it to be easy, predictable, passive, whatever it is. but this should not be the money that you need on short notice or that you're planning on spending in 3 or 6 months.
Right. And that's totally different than what, somebody else guru will say, yeah, go ahead and put that in and risk. And we have said investing and savings are the same. In our world, it's been mixed. And then most people don't even have 3 months of an emergency account, right? And so I want people to hear this is like what he said is building that foundation. And as you build a solid foundation, you're able to take bigger risks instead of take bigger risks going after the ROI and then build a foundation. You build that foundation first and build up from that. And then actually you'll make probably more money because you're not worried. You sleep well, regardless of what happens, building those rocks.
I mean, that's exactly right. This is coming from someone who I still remember the days where when we got to the end of the month, if I had a digit other than 0 to the left of the decimal place in my checking account, that was a good month. So getting money in there, just little things like, hey, I've got $500 in my savings account now so that if I have a car accident, I can pay for the deductible, and getting those things done so that you're not stressed over what if this happens? What if that happens? What if the furnace goes out in the middle of winter? How am I going to pay for that? My credit cards are maxed, and just getting away from that. You use those tools as appropriate, but you've got to use them correctly.
Well, and that's again why I like what I have with my life insurance policies is I can use them for building assets, but things happen. There's always volatility. Volatility will happen in life and in Wall Street, right? The thing is how do we mitigate volatility? And
you can't mitigate it. You acknowledge that it exists.
Yeah. Well, I mitigate it, meaning if something happens, I can overcome it easier than it's totally wrecked me, and how do I have the emergency capital for me, when I had a flood happen in my house and business, twice it's happened, or 3 times actually, but I had the reserves available. So it still sucked. I'm not saying I don't like going through floods.
Oh yeah. Floods are no fun. I've done a couple of those, and it sucks to write those checks. But having the cash to write those checks is key.
And what I learned, this was crazy. We had 2 floods in Cincinnati in our house, was back to back, 1 year and then the next year. The cost for the flood was way higher the second time around than the first time around. I'm like, you just did this. How is it more expensive? And they're like, inflation. I was like, I don't think that was in the beginning of anyway. I was like, just found it really interesting, but all knowing I still had the money. I just didn't want to pay it because they claimed inflation. But anyway, build your foundation. And then what do you do from the foundation? You've built your emergency fund. You've built all these other things. How do you then figure out what is a good investment for you with notes and stuff?
Well, see, that's the fun part because it's going to be different for different people. As we were growing, we were very actively involved. We didn't have day jobs, so we were all in on real estate, wholesaling and rehabbing and doing that. So we dedicated all our time to that. Somebody who has a full-time job can't do that. So they may have to do, I'll just buy a turnkey rental property, or I'll buy a rental property that's already going, or I'm going to invest in a note because it's passive and it's easier for them. So you've got to match up with where it is, what you are, with the time you have available, the experience that you have, and what your goals are.
So you're saying
the growth phase, performing note might be a temporary form, but it's not a long-term investment solution for somebody who wants to, say, grow rapidly from, hey, I'm getting started, I got 25 grand, that's all I got. If you want to be very passive, performing note might be right. If you want to rapidly grow that 25 grand from 25 to 50, you should probably go wholesale a couple deals or do some flips. It depends on what the goal is.
And what you just said goes against the financial agitators out there who give blanket advice and say, well, this is exactly how you do it. Everybody else is stupid. And what's required is what you mentioned right from the beginning, having a relationship, having conversations to figure out what are the goals for those individuals, because it is different for different people, right? That's what you said, right?
It's absolutely different. Way back in the days when I used to teach personal finance classes, we came up with this really technical term, what we called the Maalox quotient. If it keeps you awake at night, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
There you go.
Your return may be a lot lower, but at least you're going to sleep at night.
And risk, right? So for me, I run a business. So I have a high degree of risk involved. I don't have anything in the market at this point, but I know what my risk is and I know what I can control and sleep well at night. And so it's just understanding you as an individual and what kind of investor you want to be. And that's a hard thing when people aren't self-reflective.
Yeah. And so anytime you hear some, if you're out there listening to a pitch, a course, a guru or whatever, a sales pitch, if it's one size fits all, it's wrong. That's all there is to it.
We have a thing we call the still method. So the inverse of the still method is chaos. It's confusing, haphazard, anxious, overwhelming, and stressful. Like that's a lot of things: confusing, haphazard, anxious, overwhelming, and stressful. The still method is a framework that we like to use as we navigate deals or even think through. And we use our whiteboard all the time to figure out what value of money, also value of time, all those other things. But the still method is set your sights. You have to have a goal and understanding of where you want to go with this, each deal, anything. So you set your sights, track your in and out. Most people in a lot of their assets, they don't track. They don't realize company match versus other. So tracking, inspect your progress. You got to track and then you inspect. Look for 1% adjustments that will build over time, 1% adjustments, and then live deliberately. All of those things, if you do that on every deal, you will do amazing. But it didn't say anything about numbers or rate of return. It's saying still.
And the other piece of that to remember, and it's really important, is that your goals will change over time. So the goals I had 10 years ago when I restarted are very different from the goals I have today.
Yeah.
And they changed several times along the way because as I hit different points, my needs changed.
Yep.
When I first started rebuilding, I needed cash flow. And so I bought the highest ROI properties I could possibly find, which of course are always in the lowest end neighborhoods. And at the time, that was what I needed. I needed that cash flow coming in because I was trying to make, I was a little upside down in the monthlies every month. So I needed that extra money coming in. As I was able to grow that rental portfolio and grew other things, that return on time started becoming more important to me.
Yeah.
So I started shifting away from those higher ROI properties that had a lot of time involved, a lot of drama involved, and shifting into other properties, other neighborhoods where they're quiet. Nothing ever happens. They're not on the nightly news. And with stable occupants that are always there, my turnover is somewhere close to zero. My ROI is a little lower, but the amount of time that takes me is almost zero. And to bring that close to zero, I gradually started shifting from doing all our own property management to hiring it all out. I had a property manager. Are they as good as we are directly? No, not quite, but they're good enough.
And what you're doing is through that still method framework is your questions may be the same and your answers may change. And a lot of times we think it's stagnant. It's going to be the same. I mean, I look at some of my goals of 10 years ago. I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? That's not even a goal anymore. Or like priorities change. You have a 4-year-old versus you're single, right? There's different goals. Or some of your goals is I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 25 or whatever. Like some people are unrealistic and they don't know how to reverse engineer it. So for me, I think, you want to reverse engineer. How many doors do you need? What is it that you want? What is that income going to be? How do you get there? And being able to change and adapt as you change and adapt.
And when I hear people put goals out there like, hey, I want to be a millionaire, I look at them, I smile, go, and then what? Okay, if I handed you $1 million right there, right now, what are you going to do? And it's a rare person that actually knows. They have this goal out there. I want to be a millionaire. Why? Well, they know it opens doors. They know it gives you opportunities, but then what?
Those are really, good questions that even for us in date night, we ask those questions of each other. Yeah, what would you do? Hypothetical, which is fun. And then you're like, all right, well, now I won the lottery, quote unquote. But we all have money. I just did a podcast on this. We have money, millions of dollars flowing through our hands every day. Throughout our whole life, we will have millions of dollars. The goal is to keep a lot of it. That's why I think understanding cash flow, understanding the banking system, because we're all in the banking system, regardless of what people think. And how do we understand that to be in a better position?
And it's one of the things I used to put out at people when I used to teach the classes, the personal finance classes, is you will have $1 million go through your hands. If you just make 25 grand a year and work for 40 years, that's $1 million that pass through your hands. What are you going to do with it? How much of that are you going to keep? How much of that are you going to invest in yourself? And, the latest movie and the latest, well, they're not CDs anymore, but the latest audio is just not a really investment in yourself. That's a short-term pleasure center.
Yeah.
You need some of those, but you have to invest in yourself too, for whatever that is going to look like, for whatever that is. For some people, it might be physical real estate. For other people, it might be performing notes. For some people, it's going to be stock market. Some people just might be, paying off their personal residence. But how are you investing in yourself and your family?
And the end is there's always a plan for your money. Everybody has a plan for your money. You just watch TV for 5 minutes. I swear, my son's doing YouTube and I'm like, man, he's getting marketed to left and right, and they have a plan for my money and he wants to spend it. And we have to realize that's why budgeting, why building a financial plan and being adaptable with the plan and knowing what makes you sleep well at night. Paying off a house. I probably wouldn't do it, but some people, it's like really important to them.
Different people, different goals.
Yeah. And so knowing and realizing some of the things we will make mistakes. That is called life. The goal is where those mistakes aren't going to like hurt us too bad, but we all want to make mistakes and not be afraid of it. Getting into bad deals, sometimes having liquidity is going to be helpful so you can mitigate those things. So I want to show people your website because I want to make sure people get to it. What else would you like to share while I'm getting?
I was going to say, as people grow, those mistakes become less costly. A few $1,000 mistake when you only have a few $1,000 is huge. A few $1,000 mistake when you have your foundation built is annoying and it sucks, but it's not going to change your lifestyle for that long.
I think that is key what you just said right there, that people just don't realize, how powerful that is. And what's crazy is most people don't have $400 in case of a mistake because we're told invest everything, while having some of it in a lazy money account, even a savings account that doesn't make money, is a sleep well at night account.
That's the just in case account, just in case something goes wrong. Someone hit my car, I need $500 for the deductible. It's not even that you screwed up. Somebody else, you come out in the parking lot and, there it is. There's a big, someone sideswiped your car and wait, I need $500 for your deductible. How are you going to pay for that?
Because then if you don't have that, the credit card companies will come and say, oh, I'll help you, 25% interest.
Yeah, and then it'll cost you $1,500 over the next few years.
And that
years if you make minimum payments.
That's the death by 1,000 paper cuts that I tell people all the time. And then they all want to be in the real estate world. I'm like, first, let's fix this. And then you can become a real estate guru.
If you have a small amount, you're going to have to start in areas that require small amounts and put small amounts at risk.
Yep.
Or you have to work with somebody else. And maybe you're putting more time than money as you're learning, but there's ways to get going even with small dollars.
Well, how can people find you? I'm going to show this. Anything you want to show on your website here?
Most of that website is focused towards the borrowers that are coming up, which are mostly, people investing in this area, although we do cover Northern Kentucky, Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus, and a few other areas. So it focuses on the borrowers, just us as a team member versus just, a blind lender that you call from a call center that just says yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll actually help people through it. There's a very little bit on there about the notes and the performing notes, because I just don't want to sell a note to somebody who comes up and says, hey, I got $10,000. I want to buy a note. I'm still very much into that. Let's make sure it's appropriate for you. Do you understand the risks? Do you know what can go right? Do you know what can go wrong? If this goes wrong, is this going to hurt you? If interest payments stop for 6 months because the borrower stopped paying, are you still going to be okay? So I want to make sure that at least it's a good fit for them. And they still get to make the ultimate decision. But if somebody tells me, oh yeah, I just got this $10,000 one of my savings, I've had it there as my reserve account, but I've never needed it, you should probably still leave that in your reserve account. So that's where we're at. And most of that shift to working with borrowers and doing the note investing has been part of that return on time for me. I kind of satisfy my need to go out and help people because I get to help the borrowers, I get to help the note investors. So I help teach and train and help people do better. Yeah. But I'm getting a better return on my time than when I was chasing contractors every day. The guys who are building that wealth, growing their wealth and trying to grow it rapidly, chasing contractors is good for them. So I'll help them do that, but I'm going to let them do it.
I think that's awesome, and why people are like drawn to this kind of thing. I think a lot of people are, but they haven't built their foundation yet. And they're all wanting to be note investors. There's note camp. There's all kinds of things that are out there. but they have to figure out, okay, where do I start? Maybe you need to do wholesaling for a little bit to build that up and learn that system. And you just shared, you didn't start here overnight. You went through lots of trials and tribulations beforehand, and now you're able to help other people.
And the lending and the note investing, it's built on everything that I've learned as a real estate investor.
Yeah.
It's built on knowing how to landlord, how to rehab properties, how to do a flip, how to wholesale deals. So it's just building on that level of knowledge and just taking it up just to the next probably logical step, so to speak.
I think that's huge. Again, there's a lot of stuff out there that is like, oh yeah, join this community, do this thing. But again, running a business, even doing notes, requires some education, requires you to at least have some degree of learning and any of that stuff. So I want you guys to understand that and use the systems and the relationships. I've built a relationship with Darrin and building it as we're in the Cincinnati RIA group. And my hope is this video would be helpful for you as you want to break through to a smart, stable financial future, whether it's in notes, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in your business, whatever it is, but building that good foundation. Anything you want to leave the guys with before we close for the day?
Well, we've got the big convention coming up in November. So we'll be doing a couple presentations there on how to work with hard money lenders and how to be a performing note investor.
What's the big convention? I know about it, but what is that?
Oh, I keep calling it the OREA convention, but they changed the name. Like National Real Estate Summit, Great Wolf Lodge, which is always fun. Fantastic networking, good presenters, lots of fun there.
I'm going to look for it and see if I can find the event.
OREIA convention, and that'll get you there. But we'll do those presentations there. You know, from a borrower perspective, it's easier for them just to reach out to us or, go to the webpage. They pull a basic info there. For the note investors, I actually wrote a 12-page guide that talks about performing notes and what the do's and don'ts and how it works and things like that. And they can reach out to me to get that if they're looking to get into note investing. It's not going to teach you to be a note guru. It's not going to teach you how to chase down notes off a secondary market and flip them for a profit. That's a whole different business. This is just about, hey, here's how to look for a performing note and get that predictable return coming in and be a passive investor. I wrote that up. That's about a dozen pages. They can get that through us too. OREIA
convention. Go check that out. And I'm going to put this in the video here.
And that's a good place, especially for people in the area. Actually, people come from quite a ways away to come down there because it's a really good event.
Well, one of the things I've told people is I've been part of the organization, the RIA convention here, or RIA here in Cincinnati. And it's been really helpful because what I do in the infinite banking world and profit first for real estate investors just is hand in glove in there. And buying my own first commercial real estate, I felt like I could not be there yet because I wasn't in that world yet. But now I'm buying a building. So I'm like, oh, I'm now part of the club. But like going around and meeting these people, and even if you feel like you're not ready yet, being a part of that organization has been super helpful. And there's people from all over the United States, actually. It's crazy.
Right. All over the US, plus all kinds of ideas that are floated out from the presentations. Even if someone's just interested in real estate, but really hasn't taken the plunge yet, it's a fantastic way to just go out there and get exposed to all kinds of different ideas. It's disgustingly cheap.
Yeah.
I've gone to that event every year since 2005.
Nice.
I've been there every single year. And I've learned something every time.
Definitely, guys, join that. You'll probably see me there. It is going to be a really great event. And then you just got to look for me, look for Darrin. It's going to be good. Maybe next year, maybe I'll try and be a presenter or something.
Yeah, well, we'll have our table set up. We'll be right on the corner of the hallway as always.
Maybe my wife will be a presenter. She's a better public speaker than I am. So yeah,
that's a great way to get exposure. Like I said, you can hit me directly for the performing notes or to borrow money as a hard money lender or for real estate investing. You can hit us up directly on that. But for that broad brush, really the local real estate investor association, wherever you are, is probably a great choice. Coming to a national summit like this is a great way to network, meet people, get exposed to a lot of new ideas and things you may not have considered.
Well, and the key is finding the right tribe, and you'll get a lot of great ideas, but implement on those ideas and stay the course. Build your foundation is what I heard today.
Build the foundation, adjust and match your goals as your goals change. build on your mistakes, build on your successes, learn and get better.
Well, Darrin, thanks for having us, being here, for all that you do for the real estate group here in Cincinnati, how you're changing the world and using the things that have caused you pain, using that to help people succeed. Thank you for that. And I'm excited for where it's going. And guys, if you found this valuable, remember what we talked about. Write a review, reach out to Darrin, let him know that this has been life-changing for you or helpful. And if you want to break through to a smart, stable financial future, just hit us up. You'll find us at wealthwisdomfp.com. And we'll talk to you next time. Thanks, Darrin.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.